Hello, welcome to Stories in Time. I'm Eloise Schottler, your storyteller. People ask me from time to time, where do you get the stories you tell? And so I'm going to tell you one today that explains where it came from, how I found it. And it's a nice memory for me. I hope you'll enjoy it. I was going with my husband to the orthopedist. I packed a little bag so that I'd have plenty to do when I got there, because those offices are always crammed with patients waiting to be seen. When we walked in, sure enough, it was full. Hardly as there was a seat. There were 2 seats in a little alcove, and Jim and I went right to them and sat down. I was getting out my book and settling, planning what I would do while I waited, when I looked up, and that's when I saw him. A man sitting off to my right in my line of vision. I looked at him, and then I looked away, and then I looked back. He had the most beautiful skin that I've ever seen. Well, let's put it this way. The most beautiful the most beautiful colors for skin that I have ever seen. He was tattooed from the edge of his torn t-shirt all the way to his wrist. I looked away again. I didn't want to appear too rude, but then I was drawn back. I had to see it. Beautiful colors. And then I noticed his right leg was tattooed to match his arm. He had on shorts. I could see that wasn't tattooed. He didn't have a right leg. That was a fabric slip cover, sort of a paisley that was drawn up, but it almost matched his arms. Well, now, I had been looking at him for some time now, and his eyes raised, and we met. He smiled. I smiled back. And then it was like an explosive blurt. I just have to ask you, could I ask you about your tattoos? Nah, I don't mind if you ask me about my tattoos. But before I can tell you about my tattoos, I have to tell you about how I lost my leg. Oh, I didn't care about his leg. I wasn't a bit interested in how he lost his leg. I wanted to know about the tattoos, but then I figured listening to the story of how he's lost his leg is the price of getting the story of his tattoos. So, okay, go ahead, tell me about it. I was driving in Upper Montgomery County late one night, and I must have fallen asleep at the wheel for just a second, and it ran off the road and smacked into a 200-year-old tree. Threw me out of the car, face down into the dirt. I don't remember any of this. They told it to me afterwards. Why, the firemen, the EMT, the ambulances all came, and they found me laying down, face down in the dirt. They put their fingers on my neck, and the first one to touch me said, "He's gone." But in the state of Maryland, it takes two to pronounce. Don't forget that, lady. So he thought I was dead, but the captain showed up, and he came over, and he jiggled with my neck, they said, and he reached up, and he felt my pulses, and he felt something, and he said, "He's not gone. Get the ambulance." They put me in an ambulance, and they took me to the helo pad, and the helicopter took me off to the hospital. I was a mess. I lost my leg. I had to have a lot of work done on my face. How do you think it looks? He's very good looking. I said, "I think they did a great job. You look terrific." Well, they had to do a lot of work, and, you know, it was touch and go for me for months. And then when I got out of there, that's when I had my tattoos done. This is the angel that saved my life up on that highway that night. When he held up his arm, there was this beautiful angel tattooed on the inside of his arm. And then he turned his arm outward and he said, "And this is the tree I smacked into." There was a threatening black silhouette of a huge tree all the way down his arm, bare limbs. And there were other symbols that went across and down the other arm, also a torn sleeve here, till it came just like sleeves. They ended just like sleeves. His arms looked like fabric. He said, "This black band, that was my wife's name. She didn't make it through all of this with me. It was a terrible time. I don't blame her too much. But I will tell you one thing, lady. Don't ever put anybody's name on your body. Because if you want to get it off, you can't." So I just had him cover it over with a black band. By now, I was so drawn in to his story. And I said, "Can I ask you some more? Where are you from?" "West Virginia." "And what's your name?" "David." "Can I ask you more about you? I'm a storyteller, and I'd just like to know more about you and more about your story." "You're a storyteller, are you?" "Well, sit back. I've got a story for you. I'll tell you a story. Just happened yesterday. Yesterday was Memorial Day. And you know, here in Washington, down in Memorial Day, they have rolling thunder. You don't know what that is, do you, lady?" No, I didn't. Rolling thunder is when thousands of motorcyclists meet in the Pentagon parking lot. They assemble there because they're going to make a mass ride down to the Vietnam Memorial. You should hear the noise and the power of it. And I was riding my Harley in rolling thunder. You can't ride a Harley. You haven't got but one leg. Lady, I have a screaming eagle. I could see by the expression on his face that it was really important to him. "But you never seen one, have you?" "No, I can't say I have." "Well, you'd be blinded by the chrome. And I keep mine spotless and shining." Well, I went down with my Harley to Rolling Thunder. I didn't go all the way to the Pentagon parking lot. It's just gotten too hot out there for me. I went right down to the mall, near the vendors' tents, near the memorial. I parked my Harley and I was walking around. And that's when I saw him. I saw this young guy. He had on fatigues, cut short. He had to have been an Iraqi veteran. And he was sitting there in a wheelchair at the door of one of those vendor tents. And he had two legs off, one below the knee and one above the knee. And in one of those knees, there was a computer chip knee. I could tell it. I was drawn to it just like a magnet pulling me in. I wanted to take a look at that. And as I came closer to him with my eyes on his knees, he looked up, flashing daggers at me out of his eyes. I didn't have on any shorts like today. I had on long pants. I never go down there to this wearing short pants. I don't want anybody to take a look at me with my leg off, gone to a tree, and thank me for something I ain't ever done. So I said, "Don't, just cool it. Cool your jets, buddy. Buddy, I got one too." And I shifted up my leg so that he could see my leg gone. And I came close and I said, "I just want to get close. I just want to see your knee. I ain't even seen one." "What are you doing down here?" Well, I could have asked him the same thing, but I didn't. Wasn't that rude? And I said, "Well, I'm down here to ride my Harley. When hear the bike's coming, I'm going to join Rolling Thunder." "You can't ride a bike, much less a Harley. You got one of your legs off, guy." "What are you talking about?" "I ride a Harley. I ride a Screaming Eagle. And as a matter of fact, you could too." His face went all flat on him. He looked up at me and he said, "I can't ride a Harley." I can't ride nothing. Don't you see what I got? I've got 2 legs off, lost to me forever. I'm sitting in this chair for the rest of my life. Not if you don't want to. Sit here. Just stay right here. Don't go anywhere. And I went on off, and I got my bike. I rolled it slowly back over. Parked it in front of him. Can you stand up? Yeah, I can stand up. Put his hands on the arms of the wheelchair, started to lift his butt out of that chair, and I turned it on. I clamped down on those handles, and the power roared out of that engine. You should have seen his face. He was taking in all that chrome. He was hearing that roar, and I helped him over to the bike. He slid up, put his butt down on the leather seat, scooched around just a little bit. And then I said, feel the power coming through you. He looked like somebody that had just come to Jesus at a revival. His face lit up. I said, what's your name? Joe. My name's David. You could ride next year. Ride with me. Rolling thunder. Man, I can't do that. Give me your phone number. Don't think you can't, man. Don't think you can't. You know something, lady? I think maybe he will ride with me. Sometimes I wonder, though, I look at him, I look at others, why didn't I get killed that night up in Upper Montgomery County? You just did what you did for that guy, and you're wondering why you're still here? David, can I tell your story? Sure, go ahead, tell it. Just tell him, my name's David. I'm kind of glad you asked. Nobody asks me any questions. I'm glad you asked me. Take the story. And that's how I got the story of the tattooed man. There's stories out there all around us. The trick is, ask for them. And if you want to hear more stories by other tellers, come on the 3rd Wednesday of the month from September until May to Friendship Village Community Center, Chevy Chase, 7:30. It's free to you. We'll hope to see you then.